which runs 2%.
Tony.
Troy, oh, and you spelled his name wrong too.
I heard, what I heard.
You spelled his name wrong. I think the email you sent, Paul might have.
Who?
Troy's.
TROY.
No, his first name spelled right. Good job. I was proud of you.
BREAT.
Yeah, you spelled, the last name.
BRAIT.
No, EAT.
That's actually the correct spelling.
Y'all spell it wrong? So
We spell it wrong, yeah, but I got cousins that spell it the right way.
because that's why it is.
That's my last name. It's
Okay, well, that
changed.
explains why you said that email I sent you.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
right. That's
I knew that because but I was like, so I went to email, I did try to email him to add him to something and it wouldn't add him, but I think it will now. I don't think he was in there.
Thanks for pointing out my shortcoming.
Paul,
At this time, I would like to call the work session to order, and we're going to speak about our electoral districts with Carolyn and Blake.
it is Blake.
And this is being recorded.
It is.
against those.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you. It's good to see you all again. I guess before we get into anything, I just want to make sure that if I share my screen, that you all can see it. So some will be an important part of the discussion. So
We can see it.
great.
Blake,
And
before you get started, we have a new addition to our board that'll be sworn in tonight, Troy Braithwaite with an E. And
He's out of
he is filling in for Commissioner Etheridge, who has requested a leave of absence. Not sure how long he'll be on the board, but until Commissioner Etheridge is back, Troy will be filling in the Moyoc spot, District 5.
got it. Thank you for that. And yes, I'll leap right in. It feels like we saw each other on the screens not too long ago, so hopefully this is all familiar. The first slide I've got is a review of what we looked at last time. So there had been a request to have a slide that had all three next to each other. It was pretty clear that options B and C were not fit for serious consideration. So, I mean, not that they were unfit, but the board decided that those were not likely to be finalists and asked us to come back with a 6th district plan. So with 6 districts, this is just an adapted version of the slide we had in the last previous slide decks for the 5 district plans. We have a different ideal population for each district and a different range, sort of a different upper and lower bound and a different amount of wiggle room. So you can see that the 5%, the plus and minus 5%, that gives us 234 people of permissible deviation on either side of the ideal population. These two maps are maps that were shown in previous slideshows. The one on the left is just a reminder. This is what the Census Bureau is reporting for new homes having been built since the 2020 census. So this is for each census block. The size of the circle represents the size of the home. And again, this is not to be confused with residents. These homes are not necessarily occupied by people who are counted as residents, and it's the residents that are the key number for the one person, one vote and the population equality. The map on the right is a map that was provided in a previous slide deck. And here, these are the percentages of an ideal district population in each precinct. So when we were looking at 5 districts, there were a number of precincts that were quite close to 100% or 95%. But you can see here that there are none that are that close, and there are a number. I guess the West Moyoc precinct is getting close to 105%. But remember, in this area, the preference was stated that we would want to have the populations be lower than the ideal district population here to absorb some of the growth that's been happening there. So when we're looking at West Moyoc and at the courthouse precinct, and then also at Poplar Branch. These are all going to have to be divided because they've already got, each precinct already has more than, substantially more than an ideal district population. Now, I know in the last meeting, folks, it was hard sometimes to see the numbers. Can folks read these numbers that I'm talking about, like the 112%? Okay.
It's close. Yeah, we moved to the front.
Excellent. Thank you. So this slide, I realize the numbers are smaller, but I did want to include this as just an illustration of some of the challenges that we face because of census block populations and the fact that census blocks are the most granular unit and they cannot be divided. So the yellow area here is the courthouse precinct. And as I mentioned, the courthouse precinct has about 115% of an ideal district's population. So we have to remove 10% of that from the courthouse district, which would be about 470 people. And that, it doesn't make sense to add that to District 1, which is the purple here. So this is, I'm just for a moment here going to kind of give you a little bit of a sense of the choices that I'm looking at and the constraints that I'm looking at when I'm trying to design these district shapes. So again, I'm trying to assemble about 470 people to take out of the yellow and put either into the orange or the blue here. And the reason it doesn't make sense to add it to the purple, again, this is District 1, this is the Knott's Island precinct, this is the Gibbs Woods precinct. But getting over here, we're looking at the East Moyock precinct and the Indian Ridge precinct. So I will zoom in because
I was gonna say, so you wouldn't be, you use natural boundaries, so you wouldn't want to draw a line into 520 there to get down to where you need to, right?
He can't.
Legally do that.
He's got to grab 520 or nothing.
No, that's what I was, my point is you have to use that. That is locked in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'll start, just this is the way that I was sort of looking at it initially because the orange district, District 3, needed more people. You can see here there's some blocks that would add up to about 360. That's not enough. 520 is too much, and even it's actually more than 520 because there are these donut hole blocks that between them include more than 200 people. So if I were to take in this block, that would actually be well over 700 people.
Are you using a mouse to try to show us? Because I don't see nothing. No, I'm in the map. You're
Okay.
You're just.
I think
Oh.
when I'm zoomed in, I can, let me see if I can turn the laser
Yeah, we saw
pointer
your
back.
pointer earlier. We don't see the pointer.
There it is.
Okay. Okay, are these numbers visible?
Yes, yeah, I can see the
Okay,
red dot.
okay. Then I think I can't do the red dot and the magnifying at the same time. So yeah, so I was looking at the lower right here. These are the ones that add up to about 360. Thank you for letting me know, by the way. This 520 block with the donut holes here that add up to 200, that makes us over 700 here. This 660 is too many. This would be something I could add, but you can see it's a funny shape. And then if I were to try to add up or get into any of this, and you may remember from the very first presentation, I called out this block, which stretches from here all the way down to here and actually has more than 12,000 people. I'm sorry, 1,200, not 12,000, 1,200 people. This is 660, so that's too much. So I'm looking at maybe assembling an odd shaped combination of things here, but then this also includes the incumbent in District 4 who lives here. So that would mean that the incumbent in District 4 is taken out. And then again, looking up here, there's one block, which you can see has 490 people. That's close, but it also has donut holes like the 67. And if I were to just take that block and not the 16 and the 52 and the 27 here, it would make for a very convoluted shape. So
How many do
this
you
is
have to
just,
shift to District 3?
say that again.
How many do you have to shift to District 3?
Well, based on what I did, it depends on how I drew the line between District 2 and District 3. But I don't recall off the top of my head, but what I ended up doing, you'll see, I think maybe it'll be clear once we actually move on to the options. You can see sort of the possibilities that were available. But I don't have that number at my fingertips. But I can sort of extrapolate it if that's still of interest once we get through the options. But let me go ahead and go on to option D1. And the instructions here were to try and keep this as close to option A, which was also the closest to the existing residency district configuration, with the understanding that adding a sixth district is going to mean there's going to be, you know, an area with around 4,700 people, 4,600 people that is all being assigned to a new district. So this does manage to keep 6 of the precincts with either no change or very little change in the case of Coinjock. And in this case, District 6 covers much of the area where the new population and the new growth is. So you can see it's got the District 6 is the one in blue, and it covers quite a bit of East Moyock and West Moyock. This option does, go ahead.
Where's 2 at? Am I missing it?
It's yellow.
Two is-
I mean, green.
two is green.
Two's green.
I thought it was 3. Okay.
Yeah,
But
and
But three's
Thank you.
you.
Three's green.
That star is you.
That's 3.
So,
3 is green, right here.
yes,
Oh, I was looking, okay.
Oh, he's looking at the
I
star.
was looking at,
You're looking
Yeah.
at,
I was looking at the
Yeah.
color, I was.
that's because we said earlier, don't worry about it.
That's right.
but I don't care. I just want to do what's right. I
Yeah.
don't care about me.
Oh, I don't care
So
about.
my thought on this is because we're essentially making District 6 out of half a Moyock, that gives us, instead of really like a 5% or, you know, let's say an 8% population growth limit before we got to redistrict, it splits that and gives us 8-ish% in 2 districts. I know one of them could blow up and we still have to redistrict, but it's a shared.
But it's 14 years because it's only after the census do you
Yeah.
redistrict.
So, I mean, I think having both of those on the low end
I
is
mean, that looks pretty close. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think
that doesn't look.
I don't mind that at
minus
all.
the fact that there's 6 commissioner in it, you know?
I mean, all it does is just dissolve one of the at
Well,
large.
yeah, just gonna be just one out of the down, just say, yeah. Either way. Huh?
thank you for making raising the question about which districts, which color corresponds with which number. I decided to keep the labeling consistent with what we had done in the past. So the numbers do correspond with the location of the incumbent and the district that incumbent currently represents. So here, and I think somebody said this a moment ago, that the directions we were given was that the location of incumbents wasn't, and whether the incumbent ended up in the same district. For example, in the case of the incumbent for District 3 here, who will be running in 2026, again, still in the residency district, because these districts would not go into effect until 2028. And I don't have a 2 on here because the incumbent from District 2 has said that she will not be running for re-election.
That is correct.
Okay. So I did want to note, though, that this, you had only specified that we should work on one new option, but I actually have 3. You'll see that this is option D1. There are also options D2 and D3, but they're quite similar. There just are changes essentially in the courthouse precinct and the Indian Ridge precinct. Although, well, it'll be clear when we go to option D2, but one thing that this does do is it does put the incumbent from District 4 into District 6. But there is no incumbent in District 6 because it's a new district, so it's not an issue of the incumbent being paired. And what you'll see in option D2 is essentially I've just switched which one is called District 4 and which one is called District 6. But before we get into option D2, there's another map. This is the side-by-side that we had last time. This may be helpful to sort of see what's the same and what's different, although I also have the following slide has the dots that also make that clear. But I think I did as much as I could to keep, for example, you can see that currently the vast majority of District 4, the yellow, is within the courthouse and Indian Ridge precincts. I tried to keep the bulk in those two precincts. And again, the shape of West Moyock, or the shape, I should say, of District 5 within West Moyock, I tried options that would have made it more compact, but there's another big block here with a population that can't be split, that essentially made it impossible to make this more of a compact shape. So I realized that District 6 has it's not as compact a shape as I would have liked to be able to create, but because of constraints with the blocks, like for example, coming out here. And you can see that in this option, District 3 extends only into the Indian Ridge precinct and not the courthouse. And again, another way of looking this way, the dots really call out where the changes are happening. So you can see, and not surprisingly, a lot of them are with the blue background. So again, the solid background colors represent the proposed district. The dots are representing what the existing situation is. And if you don't see dots, then there's no change. So option D2 is identical to D1, except that where this area was yellow and this area was blue, those have been swapped. What this does, it allows the district incumbent to stay in a district that is given the district number of 4. But you can see here now that on the bar chart that it's 4 and 5 that have the lowest populations here. Actually, District 1 is a tiny bit lower than District 5, yeah. But basically the Moyock, the districts that have a piece in either East Moyock or West Moyock are going to have the lowest populations.
And Blake, can I jump in for a second?
Please.
One of the things that this does is, assuming new District 6 is first up for election in 2030, because right now you've got Districts 1, 2, and 4 are up in 2028, and 3 and 5 are up in 2030. This would put one more for 2030, so it resolves the issue with the incumbent for District 4 having to decide whether to run or to hold off because of the staggered terms.
Some numbers we don't want
And-
here. I can give them a list of the names.
And this does because there will be one less at-large seat. If somebody in this area, the current at-large incumbent or somebody else, compared to option D1, in both of these cases, no incumbents who are planning to run for re-election are paired. And I think Caroline said it well that in this case, the incumbent in District 4 would still be in District 4, and there wouldn't be that question of District 6. And the at-large incumbent could here decide to run for District 6 rather than an at-large position. Although I'm not certain about the timing for the staggered elections for that commissioner.
I have a question about Moyock. So I know
because of the population in Mayock, obviously we have to, divide that area up into multiple districts to even out the population. I do have a question about that one little strip of Mayock up there. I presume the dividing line between West Mayock and East Mayock is Highway 168.
Yes, sir.
So if you go, that little strip of Mayock up there to the north, right below the state line and east of Highway 168.
Yep.
You know, there are some fairly decent sized developments in that area,
Yes.
housing developments in that area.
We had to do that to
Tony's
make
district.
one
Right.
big enough.
Right. I'm just wondering if, the folks in that block are going to be, happy about being broken out, and put with District 1. Just because that would really kind of separate them out from the rest of Mayock, pretty significantly.
It's a great question, and it's one of the challenges that the geography and the numbers hand us here. The options B and C were well, particularly option C, instead of extending District 1 into East Moyock, extended District 1 into Powell's Point. But that was clear that folks did not think that was an acceptable arrangement. So essentially, District 1, I didn't include a slide this time, but District 1 only has currently, it consists of these 4 precincts, and it's currently 60% of an ideal district population, or an ideal 5-district district population. So we needed to add more than 1,000 people to District
Okay.
1. And
I'm
there's
just
really
gonna, I'm
no,
just gonna tell everybody to call Tony anyway.
You got some plan district.
That's right.
Well, this is if it passes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People may say the heck with it, saying that.
so as I understand it, this is the least bad option for having to add 1,000 people to District 1. Again, some alternatives were presented last time, but that they would have to come from some precinct other than these 4. And it seemed like the preference was for option A, which similarly had part of this northern part of the East Moyock precinct in District 1. So.
Hey, Blake,
Yeah, 8 minutes.
Sure.
we
Yes.
have about 5 minutes before we have to go to our regular scheduled meeting. Not rushing you, but just letting you know.
Yeah, we didn't know we were gonna have 2 other options coming before us tonight.
Yes. Yep. Thank you for that. And so option 3, in discussing with Caroline here, just the fact that there was more being taken out of the courthouse precinct for either for this district, whether it's District 4 or District 6, then had to be taken out. We wanted to look at an option that would have the courthouse precinct have all of District 4 be in the courthouse precinct. So that's what this option does, and it makes District 6 kind of a ungainly shape, but hopefully that slide that I showed you before gives you a sense of that. So essentially, this is similar, but District 3 extends into courthouse and into Indian Ridge. And I recognize that the shapes, it makes for some awkward shapes, especially for District 4 and District 6. But if this is considered preferable, it's an option. And then we do have a slide that shows all 3 side by side. So why don't I leave it at that? Caroline, if you wanted to say anything about what the board should be thinking about as far as next steps. And by the way, these are all on the interactive map, same URL as before. And I will stop talking.
So next steps would be to decide which of these you want to take to a public hearing to get some public input on. And you could do more than one plan for that. And then following the public hearing, it would be to approve a resolution selecting one of them. Or, I mean, you can tell Blake to go back to the drawing board and we can try again to adopt a resolution calling for a special election on the change.
Hey, Caroline, can we take it, you're, obviously the next step is to go get public input and, build that aspect of it. What if we went with like D1 here and the original, the one that we all liked last time? So whatever, option A,
Mhm.
right? So option A and option D1, if we look at it that way, could we take, we should be able to take both of those out for public comment and consensus building and that type of thing. To,
The reason I like option D2 better, Tony, is because of, I think,
D2?
no, D1 is 4 is courthouse. Is courthouse 4 in D1 or is courthouse 4 in D2?
And D1
yeah,
and D3.
Okay, well, D3, I don't like at all, but
What is wrong with D3?
I just don't like the little
We got some little eyes.
fingers here and there.
yeah, I
Courthouse,
don't like the
what's on
fingers.
there.
Yeah, I think,
I think D3 is out.
I think D1, if D1, I can't really see if District 4 is courthouse in D1, that's
So
the one I
the
like.
yellow is courthouse and district, or in the D1.
Okay, so that's
The
four.
blue
Yeah,
is,
yeah, I like D1 is the best then.
Yeah,
I think
I
that's.
mean, I was leaning on D1 myself.
we have the maps that we can pull up and kind of.
Well, what's gonna happen with public comment? Everybody's gonna wanna draw their lines, and they're gonna, if we don't give a good explanation why it's gotta be like this, the
Well,
question, what the question.
If we don't give a good explanation, it ain't gonna pass.
I know, well, because the question we're gonna have is.
Yeah, we can get this in the email.
All right, that's good, all right.
All right, hate to be a party pooper, but we've got a meeting starting in 4 minutes.
So have a long question time, so yeah.
Yeah, so what do you,
So I'll send the presentation. You have the presentation from our last session. And then I think if you all want to look it over, and then if we want to have further discussion about the options you'd like to present to the public, we can do that.
is it for confusion's sake, can you send us the option we liked last time and D1 in a separate email so that we can put those side by side?
Sure.
Okay. I think that would help with analyzing the two maps.
And current.
And then I think we need to have one more work session where we can all just sit down and then finalize it together.
We can do that on 17th.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
We gotta run.
Thank you all.
Thank you.